Hey guys, my name is Sybr and welcome to my Akha'demy series, episode 2. In this episode, I'll be teaching you guys how to choose your rune page and items in the game. First, we're going to talk about Electrocute. Electrocute is the most common keystone used by Khazix and most assassins, since it's the most consistent keystone of the 4 in the domination tree. This keystone is a go-to if you want to play full glass cannon one-shot full AD Kha'Zix build, since it provides the extra burst you need to finish off your enemy. You're not going to go wrong with this keystone. Second, we have Dark Harvest. Dark Harvest is a high-risk, high-reward keystone that I personally like to run myself. The early game damage with Dark Harvest is slightly lower than Electrocute, and it doesn't scale well into late game compared to Electrocute, unless you get a good amount of stacks. However, Dark Harvest does provide you with higher damage output if you can proc it multiple times in a teamfight, since it resets on takedowns. I would recommend taking Dark Harvest only if you feel like you can get more than 10 kills early to mid-game in order to be efficient. Some people might ask, what about Hollow Blades? We'll talk about that later into the video. For the minor runes in dominations, you don't really have a choice. Just go Sun Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Revenant's Hunter. Now for the secondary. What do you take for the secondary rune? For sorcery, you want to take Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. This is for playing games longer than 30 minutes. For games less than 30 minutes, you want to take Absolute Focus and Water Walking, because Water Walking allows you to, since it provides the extra movement speed you need for river fights, and it's also nice for taking an objective. Some people might ask, what about Nimbus Cloak? Personally, I prefer the extra damage on runes compared to utility. And for Kha'Zix, you want to have all the AD you can have to be able to one-shot targets. Another secondary to combine with domination is Inspiration. I personally like Inspiration setup a lot. Normally I run Cosmetic Insight with Magical Footwear. This provides you with a foot boots that has an extra 10 movement speed. It's also good for roaming on the map, but mainly you want to have a magical footwear because you can save 300 gold early to buy your extra longsword, which is 350 gold. Therefore, you can scale into your item power spike faster. For cosmetic insights, 5% CDR and everything just feels so good. Faster smite on cooldowns, especially for blue smite that you want to have for bursting your targets. Also faster ability cooldown, especially good for your Q since you can combo auto Q after your R. It just feels so good to have, so make sure you have it. Alright, now the setup for domination tree is out of the way. We're going to talk about Conqueror. Conqueror is the go-to keystone if you're playing against 2 or 2+ tanks or bruisers, since Conqueror works really well in long-term fights. With Conqueror, it also allows you to duel against some matchups where you normally have trouble with. Lee Sin, Elise, Rek'Sai, those are some pretty good examples where you normally will lose with Electrocute or Dark Harvest, but you might have a chance to win if you play Conqueror. I recommend taking Conqueror if you will be having long-term fights during the game or playing R-Evolve with Black Cleaver. Conqueror synchronizes really well with Black Cleaver, since Cleaver allows you to duel longer with extra HP and 20% CDR to stack Conqueror faster. Now within position, you have two choices of taking Presence of Mind or Triumph. I'll put this in a simple way to explain. Take Presence of Mind if you're W poking in mid to late game. Take Triumph if you simply feel like you don't need mana and you don't need to W poke as much, since Kha'Zix does have mana issue if you poke too much with W. For Alacrity and Tenacity, you just want to take whichever based on an enemy team comp. If they have a lot of CC, take Tenacity. If not, take Alacrity. For the last row, always take Coup de Grace. With Conqueror, there's two secondary you can go. You can either go Inspiration or Domination. You want to go Inspiration with Magical Boots and Cosmetic Insights if you are going R-Evolve. And you want to go Domination with Sudden Impact and Revenant's Hunter if you're going to evolve Q. For the revolutions, I'll talk more in depth in episode 3, so stay tuned. For the rune stats, you always want to take double AD with armor. Lastly, we are going to talk about Hollow Blades and Face Rush. Personally, I haven't played them more than 10 games, so in my opinion, Hollow Blade is nice for killing non-isolated targets, since you can get an extra 2 autos during your combo. Face Rush is good into teams that has a lot of skill shots. You can make use of the movement speed to stick on targets and do some great outplay. But I still prefer damage compared to utility keystone. They are also off meta, so I won't talk about it too much. Alright, now we're off to items. I'm going to try to keep this simple. So, if you're going to play full AD Assassin, you want to go Blue Smite, Duskblade, Yumus, Edge of Night, Lord Dominic's Regards, and also Mercs or Tabby, depending on enemy team comp. This build gives you the highest burst you can have on Kha'Zix. Now we're going to talk about the second build, the Bruiser build for Kha'Zix. You're going to go Rest My Warrior, Black Cleaver, Death Sense, Lord Dominic Regards, Guardian Angel, and the boost depending on the enemy team comp. This build allows you to pretty much duel against any champion in the game, but your burst damage does go down a little bit since you don't have any lethality items. If you want to be a bruiser and also have some burst damage, you could swap out Death Stance for Duskblade if the enemy team don't have a lot of CC, or Edge of Night if the enemy team has CC. Also, I forgot to mention, you could also swap out GA for Maw if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. Well, that's it for episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any question regarding to the video, you can find me on Discord and I will gladly answer your question. In the next episode, we're going to talk about Revolution. This is really important for Kha'Zix, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for the support and I'll see you guys in the next video. Sybr signing out.